Hey there, I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse, and today we finally have from Destroyer, Dan's Boogie. I'm starting to think that Dan Bejar of Destroyer is slipping into a mid to late career trap of idiosyncratic singer-songwriters, becoming most interested in one's own narrative and metatext on being, well, a middle-aged singer-songwriter. Now, truth be told, this has been a thing since at least the 2010s. Poison Season was all about Dan Bejar's relationship with his muse, and that album has probably aged into his best of that era, better than even Kaput. Yes, I said it. But 2022's Labyrinthitis was all inward, tangled deconstruction, and much of the buzz around Dan's Boogie was linked to similar territory, albeit reportedly a step away from the disco he was exploring back towards chillier sophistipop, of which I tend to like from him more than most. I'm still the guy who thinks Ken is a criminally underrated project in his catalog from 2017. So here on an album which he described as his most Destroyer-like in years, and a blend between personal favorites of mine, Your Blues and Poison Season, well, now hearing it I'm kind of torn to say the least. On the one hand, to speak broadly on themes, it's an album about getting older and decay, where now in his 50s, the concepts feel less academic and more crushingly real and existential. And on the one hand, it can become overpoweringly pretentious when you pair that with overwritten preening on how much any of it might matter, stuffed alongside copious references to his own catalog and discography and other singer-songwriters. But at the same time, none of that is safe from his own deconstruction, where one's words matter until they hit the stark limit, and said limit gets closer with age and time. The early line from the shuffling, watery gauze of Hydroplaning Off The Edge of the World, one of the better songs on the album, that has drawn the most attention outside of the weird guitar snarl is "Women fill out, men crumble inwards." And it's not hard to see why, for certain men writing their own mythology, that can implode on contact with reality. And Dan Bejar is way too self-aware to not realize he's doing the exact same thing. Indeed, if there's a through line coming from Labyrinthitis, it's this underlying insecurity that he can't really live up to his passions or ambitions, where at the attempt at tragedy, it could become comedic and largely at his own expense, unless, of course, you empathize enough to find the pathos and you get that tragedy. Can you tell he's been touring with Father John Misty yet? Hell, in the duet with Fiverr, Bologna, it could very easily come across as sardonic, a torch song that his hushed, weedy delivery can't sell, but the earnestness of the attempt makes it feel real enough. Alex Cameron also does this all the time, and for me, it can really work. Now, I'm a little bit more hesitant on the near constant callbacks to his catalog. It can lead to powerful ideas, like on Sun Meets Snow, where the symbol of that searing clarity of the sun from Ken shows up here to blast away fragile white beauty in the passage of time, but that same crumbling inwards can make this feel like more like another songwriter's midlife crisis. Have we gotta wind this way through this weird world? Where as much as the lack of clarity is part of the point beyond just putting on a great show, it winds up a little hollow for it. An Ouroboros of ideas that Dan Bejar has explored before and explored better. And it's also not remotely helped by the project's structure, where not only does the album feel weirdly short at 9 songs and just over 35 minutes given how lush some of the arrangements are, but outside of the languid guitar and horn and string accented pattering sprawl of Cataract Time, there are songs on the back half that just feel painfully abortive and kind of undercooked, like the closer Travel Light or I Materialize, where the tighter, groove-driven focus of his past 3 albums is largely gone. Don't get me wrong, there are moments of uncanny grandiosity that's very much Destroyer, and it works for me, like the tumbling keys and roiling bass of the opener, The Same Thing As Nothing at All, with its very obvious eyes on David Bowie. And I love the Poison Season-esque piano line and the strings against the unkempt guitar twang of the Ignoramus of Love that detours into dreamy keys. And I also really dug the misty keyboards against the fat bass and the wall of bongos on Bologna that then peels into weird layers of guitars and synth on the outro. But it often feels like it's a shade too tastefully arranged and mastered to really go for broke or get rougher, which might better accentuate some of the crisis and panic at this album's emotional core. The title track is certainly doing enough to get there, but it feels hemmed in waiting to truly explode. Or in the case of Sun Meets Snow, has some truly farty, mechanical sounding horns around a pretty manic piano and the blown out drum breakdown where I wish the explosion really connected in order to earn the crowd cheering at the very end. And thus it leaves Dan's Boogie in a distinctly odd place. It's a weird album, probably best suited for middle-aged die-hard Destroyer fans more than anyone else. Do not make this your jump-on point, you're going to be left lost and frustrated. There are potent instrumental ideas and themes here that I like, and Dan Bejar's anxious and freewheeling style of writing creates one hell of an atmosphere, and certainly idiosyncratic, but a lot of the unkempt edges and misshapen structure, especially on the back half, do some of those ideas a disservice. Even if on some level I get it, they match the theme and execution. Getting older and questioning the value of everything you've ever said or written would certainly feel like this. But as such, if you haven't gotten around to it and you're already down the Destroyer rabbit hole, well, again, you've probably already heard this album, but if not, the deep dive is worth it on Destroyer, even if this might be more of a coda and might not fully satisfy. All I'm saying. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more, please be sure to like, share, drop comments, subscribe. This was a bit of a weird one to get through. I want to say that I tackled it fully. Yes, I know I'm very late. I'm trying to get through all my back catalog while still staying on top of things. I don't think I got like 2 or 3 more there to fully process, but we're working on it. And hey, if you guys want to get albums on my schedule or vote them up or move them up a little higher, or, you know, just support the channel or yell at me on my Discord, link to my Patreon is right over there. Also, YouTube memberships. Don't feel obligated, tough times, I understand, the options available. Outside there, please leave your comments down below if there's anything else I may be able to do to improve my presentation. I am all ears. But until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.